General Assembly calls for the report of the Church of Scotland Investors Trust. The convener, Mr. Gibb.
Moderator, it is my privilege as chairman to report to the General Assembly, and I lay on the table the annual report and financial statements of the Investors Trust for the year to 31st December 2015. I am pleased to be able to start by giving commissioners the headline news that all three of our funds performed well in 2015. The growth and income funds were both ahead of the benchmark by which we measure their performance, and both managers, Newton and Royal London, have added value over 1, 3, and 5 years, and this is a very commendable outcome. Since they invested their money with the Trust, our present investors have seen the capital value of their investments increase by £115 million, and they have also benefited from a very competitive rate of income. Income, on which our investors generally rely so heavily, was hard to come by in 2015. We held the distribution in the Growth Fund at 16.75 pence per unit, although we only generated 16.35 pence. In discussion with the managers, we have agreed a target of 16 pence exactly for 2016, and will try to hold the distribution once again, and hope that worldwide economic growth and better corporate earnings lift our income back up to cover our distribution level in 2017. However, it may be that if more companies cut their dividends, we will have to do the same. Treasurers can follow the progress of the fund by keeping an eye on the quarterly reports, which we now publish on our website. Turning to the income fund, we are more confident that we will be able to hold the distribution level at 50 pence per unit. As for the deposit fund, all we can say is that we managed to generate a little more income than last year and paid a rate of 0.63% against last year's 0.56%. Generally speaking, the longer you deposit money for, the higher the rate of interest you earn. We know that many of our depositors hold money in the fund for longer than a year, but we have hitherto not allowed the managers to place money for longer than a year. The trustees, with the agreement of the General Treasurer, have now agreed to allow the managers to place up to £5 million for periods of up to 18 months, and we hope this will provide a modest uplift in income for our depositors. Moderator, I should now like to turn to our ethical policies. On Tuesday, commissioners heard from our colleagues in Church and Society. I'm pleased to say that we've had a number of helpful discussions with the convener, the Church's climate change officer, and others about the Church's response to climate change. In general, we think engagement with fossil fuel companies is the best first-line response. This robust type of Christian stewardship works, and we have research from the University of Edinburgh to provide evidence-based confirmation of this. Companies do change their behaviours when shareholders engage with them. It is especially effective when Christians work together. And I'm pleased to say we are active members of the Church Investors Group, an organisation which represents institutional investors from many mainstream church denominations and church-related charities, with combined assets of £15 billion. The group played an important part in getting both Shell and BP to support the Aiming for A initiative. This initiative commits fossil fuel companies to measure and disclose the impact of climate change on their operations, to engage with shareholders in developing their response to climate change, to reallocate resources, and this refers to both companies reallocating resources to less carbon-intensive activities and to shareholders moving capital to and from firms, and to reinforce these activities by, for instance, supporting government action or buying green bonds. I am also happy to confirm that following our discussions with Church and Society, we have agreed to add companies with a significant interest in the extraction of thermal coal and/or oil from tar sands to our list of excluded investments. Over the last few years, we've worked hard to improve our communications with investors. The reason I've not bored the Assembly with even more numbers this morning is that everyone can get a copy of our annual review from the Church's website. And by complete coincidence, moderator, it includes a photograph of Cramen Kirk. We now meet twice yearly with our investors. This year, we're planning to hold our main meeting, the nearest we get to an annual general meeting, after Assembly Week in 121. It will be on Friday the 3rd of June at 11:30 a.m. and we're offering a buffet lunch afterwards. As before, all of our managers will be making short presentations and trustees and officers will be available to meet with investors individually. I do hope commissioners will pass this invitation on to their congregational treasurers and suggest that they join us. We have, of course, already written to them personally. Last year, we experimented with a second meeting and held it in Glasgow. Although this was not as well supported as we might have wished, we intend to persevere and hold it there again in late November or early December. We will let treasurers and others know in good time. Taken together, I hope that these actions have made it easier for investors to monitor their investments and to reach a decision on any changes to them. I should like to end by thanking all of my fellow trustees for giving their time and talents so generously to the Trust. It has been a privilege for me to serve as a trustee, and I'm very pleased that Catherine Alexander and Brian Duffin will be taking over the offices of Chairman and Vice Chairman. The Trust will be in good hands. We have also recruited 2 new trustees, Elaine Crichton and Michael Yule, and we look forward to working with them in the future. And once again, we have been well served by the Church's staff, who work hard behind the scenes to ensure our affairs run smoothly. Moderator, I submit the report and accounts of the Investors' Trust, and as I am not a commissioner, I ask one of the clerks to move the deliverances.
So moved. Seconded.
The report has been moved and seconded. Are there any questions to the convener? If there are no questions, can we move to the deliverance, please? Section 1, Section 2, Section 3, Section 4, Section 5, Section 6, and the deliverance as a whole. Approved. Thank you. Alistair, you've got to your feet, but before you slip away, please stay standing for a second. It is, as you know, good practice when discussing matters financial to declare an interest. So let me follow good practice and declare to the Assembly that as well as being chair of the Investors' Trust, Alistair Gibb is an elder at Cramen Kirk. This puts me, I'm sure you understand, in a potentially very difficult position. because in expressing a word of thanks to the convener, I could rehearse the kind words that are there in the report, or I could tell you the truth. But thankfully, I am faced with no such difficulty, because what's said in the report, Alistair, about your open and pragmatic approach, your clarity, your good humour, that's the Alistair we know and love at Cramond. You are stepping down as chair of the trust, but you're going to continue as a member of the Investors' Trust, and so the trust and the wider church will continue to benefit from your experience. Locally, as I know, and nationally, as we all know, you serve your church well. Alistair, on behalf of the General Assembly, let me thank you for your work as chair, and let me assure you and Wilma of our love and our best wishes. Thank you.